last week I recorded one of the best feedings I've had in the earthworm box since I put it together. At one point I had my hands cupped and they were full of earthworms. Full. I didn't hit record and I only caught the tail end of it. So here we are a week later and I'm going to feed them again. At the end of this feeding, I'm going to show you how I repaired this old hat. So I hope you'll check out this feeding and then stay to the end. Maybe you've got an old straw hat that's coming apart at the seams. I'm very happy to have a little bit longer with this one. Check out these earthworms. A bunch of sow bugs get in this thing. The cool thing is they're not here for the microbes in the food really, maybe the moisture, but what they're here for is the wood. So when I raise this lid, they'll be on it. And I just put them out. Every feeding I dump these bugs out. This guy too. I don't really want him in there. So before I leave today, I'll put him somewhere else. All of these worms were wild caught out of my compost pile. Let's see what we got going on in here. The earthworms are significantly lower in the box than red wigglers would be. They do every bit as good of a job at breaking down my food scraps. And what's amazing about using earthworms, red wigglers die when you put them in the garden. They'll crawl up on the lettuce in the middle of the daytime trying to do what they do, eat scraps, and then they die in the winter. These earthworms, they're wired to burrow. So when the food scraps are gone, they just go down into the soil. They'll just make themselves at home around the roots of my plants and carry on. All of these worms I captured out of one compost pile. I must caution you though, if you do this and if you capture worms out of a compost pile, I recommend only taking the earthworms and leaving those big old night crawlers alone. They're just not wired to be in captivity and they don't do well. These guys though do just fine. No matter how deeply I dig down into this bedding, the worms are still there. They're everywhere. That's very different than composting worms. I'm trough feeding this box right now. I'm just feeding it all the way down because this bedding is relatively new. All of the sand, silt, and clay has been incorporated with the leaves, and it's all turning this dark, rich, beautiful color. I'm still really missing my compost, but the compost pile will be ready very soon, and I definitely need to add a bunch of compost to this box. This box could easily handle twice this amount of scraps. I just don't have a lot of scraps right now. So I'm a single person, but I think this would accommodate a family and a family's worth of scraps once it gets going like this. I hope that one day I have another feeding like I did for the one I didn't record. I haven't changed my mind on the earthworms. If you're just starting out, or even if you've been doing it for a while, I just can't recommend earthworms enough. They're just better than red wigglers overall. I did get the very end of the footage from that last feeding. So here I'm adding some pulverized eggshell and a little bit of hemp meal. It really doesn't have much to do with feeding the worms. This eggshell and this hemp meal is for the microbes. It's all really about the microbes. The microbes will eat all of this food. The worms come to the party because they're looking for the microbes. That's what worms eat. Eventually, this stuff will be small enough to fit into their mouth. In the meantime, They'll be quite at home and quite happy eating every microbe they come across. You'll see all kinds of videos on this stuff. How I caught the worms, how to set up the box. Everything you need to know about doing this is in my playlist. If you want to, please subscribe to the channel. It makes a big difference. It helps me spread this message about gardening with kindness. I love bringing this stuff into the box, lichen, little pieces of wood. This happened inside the box. All of this wood will end up like this as it's in contact with moisture and the leaves. One of these days I'm going to get a nice microscope and we'll check out what's in here for real. But I can tell just at the rate that scraps disappear, I know the microbes are on point. You know, you don't really need to farm worms at all to get worm castings. You just need to make a compost pile and let it go. As long as you tend that pile and make sure there's a little leaf, keep adding leaves to it and turning it, and keep the moisture on point and keep it covered, the worms will come into that pile from the ground beneath it. And they'll make you a nice big pile of worm castings right there on top of the ground. All you have to do is tend them. I don't get any rats or mice in there. I had trouble with wood rats with my open, longer beds. I don't have that problem with this box. The bottom of it's made of hardware cloth. I have two sizes. This is the size that is underneath that worm box. It also runs the full length of all of my garden beds. I can't grow without this because the gopher eat everything. This is not an expensive hat, probably 50, 60 bucks tops. But it's priceless to me because this was my brother's hat. I've kicked this can down the road as far as I can. If I don't try to mend it now, I'm going to lose it. I will say this about this old hat. It's from Panama Hat Company. It's called the Ranger. Eventually I will get another one. You see all these holes? These are from banging my head into apple trees in the orchard. And that alone is worth the price of this hat. So we got a lot of this going on. Try to glue these rings back on first. Those spots where I bumped my head, that's where the strings were compromised, and it's been a slow unraveling. supposed to be a quick set glue. We'll just all sit here in the sun for a minute and let this hat dry. I talked about it a little bit in my last video. Directly behind me is my microbe pit. I've about used everything in it, but it'll get refilled. And this is a place where the leaves kind of pile up. So I can come down here and get something like this and put it straight in my garden. It's steeper than it looks. They said that was a fast setting glue. It's still sticky, but that's drier enough that I'm going to move forward. At least that's the cap back on. I'm about to make a mess, I think. Okay, I'm going to do the top first and the band last. Here we go. Shoo, that's a quick dry glue. Hands get tired. Probably gonna glue my hand to it. Oh, I'm getting there. Whew. Shiny. That right there. I guess if the glue doesn't stick somewhere, this is so thin I could press it in from the outside. Ooh, these scissors suck. I mean, they would. I want to do this on my lap. This was my little brother, y'all. I mean, I say little, he was 6'3", football player. 10 years younger than me. And I just had to watch, so anything I could do. Colon cancer got him in 2006. It was so humbling to feel that powerless. You know, this is somebody who I had bathed, babysat, grew up with. I was 10, so by the time he got here, they had a babysitter. Rocked him to sleep most nights. Changed his diaper. Oh my goodness. We had a language that didn't require words. He was a good man. Shorty miss him. Okay. Shoo, I'm getting impatient. Whew. Oh, for heaven's sake, just cut that. Now, I'm going to put this under here. Alrighty. Lead right here. Well, I want to put this on and go to work right now, but I know if I do, I'll be ripping my hair out in 10 minutes. I realize the day's going to come and have to put that old hat on the shelf for good. Not today. Thanks for watching. See ya.